What's up, everybody? I'm John Hoover. Welcome to my YouTube channel. What a week for the Oklahoma Sooners at the NFL Combine, huh? Neville Gallimore, Jalen Hurts, CeeDee Lamb, and Kenneth Murray all showed up, and they all showed out. And not just in those televised workouts you saw on the NFL Network. First, if you want more videos like this, please consider subscribing to this channel and/or hit that notifications bell so you'll be the first to know when a new video posts. Or just click the like button. Leave me a comment down below and let's start a conversation. Those are always fun. You know, you can always follow me on Twitter at John E. Hoover, or go like my professional Facebook page at John E. Hoover Media. That stuff also always a lot of fun. I encourage your feedback there as well. Okay, let's get it. Good Morning Football, which is the best show, the best NFL show on TV. Because those guys keep it loose, they keep it fun, and they keep it real. They love them some Oklahoma Sooners at the NFL Combine this week. On Monday morning's show, just this morning, the Good Morning Football crew reviewed the NFL Combine, the whole thing, every day, every player, every drill, every interview, and the four of them, the four hosts, they each revealed their favorite player at this year's Combine. You're going to love this. Peter Schrager, after talking to, coaches and scouts and, his sources, he said that his favorite player at this year's NFL Combine was Kenneth Murray. And then Nate Burleson, who of course played in the NFL for years and is one of the most, in my opinions, reasonable voices today covering the NFL, he said his favorite player at this year's NFL Combine was CeeDee Lamb. So, the four folks on Good Morning Football, out of 337 players at this year's Combine, after watching all those drills, talking to all those prospects, and visiting with and interviewing all those coaches and all those scouts, all those sources, the four of them came back with half of their favorite players coming out of the University of Oklahoma. What? This is cool. Schrader talked about Kenneth Murray's story. Obviously, his family, his dad is a retired police officer and he's a church pastor. They adopted 3 special needs children who Kenneth helped raise as a young man. Schrager said that Murray is a natural leader, which I think we saw a good deal of when he was at Oklahoma, obviously. He said that Murray wants to be the next Luke Kuechly, and then some. He also said, and this is the one that really jumped out at me, listen to this, a coach from an AFC team who takes part in the interview meetings and has done this a long time, told him that Kenneth Murray was the best interview he's ever seen at the Combine. Think about that. That's just incredible. Said that he's a born leader, once in a generation. Here's the deal. Kenneth Murray moved up a lot of teams' draft boards, and likely, in my opinion, in the first round, because he's a guy, Schrager said, can be a captain quickly, career leader, someone who you can build a culture around. And then Burleson with, the visual backdrop playing of CeeDee's just ridiculous sideline catch that you've already seen 100 times already. Maybe the best catch in Combine history. Said, CeeDee Lamb is learning, he's growing, he's getting better, he's as physically talented as anyone. He's compared him to maybe a DeAndre Hopkins, but possibly a little quicker, a little more explosive. And I think you saw some of that in CeeDee's 40 time, which was 4.50. So that's certainly not elite speed, but I think we already knew that about CeeDee. And something that Michael Irvin said earlier in the week, which is really one of the more profound things I've ever heard come out of the Combine coverage, which was, Michael Irvin said, if you look at all the wideouts in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, not one of them, not a single one, ran a 4.340. Now, to become elite at that position, you need speed, but it requires obviously a lot more than just elite speed. Nate Burleson also relayed a story from, Hall of Famer Chris Carter, who hosted several prospects at his camp this year. Said he was really pushing the guys, really yelling at them, trying to get under their skin a little bit, see what their reaction is. Now, that doesn't always go all that well when you do that. But with CeeDee, Chris Carter said he was like, yo, coach me up. Tell me what you want me to do. How can I get better? How cool is that? I mean, so often you see guys reach this point of their career, on to the NFL, and, they've arrived. They're in the big time. They are the shiz, so to speak. You can't teach them nothing, right? But that is clearly not the case with CeeDee Lamb. Teams came out of Indianapolis loving his attitude, his work ethic, and his humble nature. Now, there was one minor setback. Kenneth Murray, his second 40 was cut short when he pulled up with a strained right hamstring. Nothing to worry about, apparently. Just a slight little muscle strain that probably won't affect his pro day next week and definitely should not impact his draft status. Murray tweeted after he ran, "I'm solid. Nothing can break me. Just a little adversity. Nothing I'm not used to." Yeah. Actually, listen, I would advise Kenneth to not run at his pro day. The time that he did put up in Indy, which was 4.52, was plenty fast. Those guys now know he can run. So what about the other two Sooners? Jalen Hurts, wow. We know Jalen can run. We know he can lead. But I think what Jalen showed at the Combine was that, you know what? Here's a quarterback who can actually throw a little bit, too. Right? I mean, who knew? Seriously, Jalen looked really sharp in all the drills. You know, the side-by-side comps with the other guys. He threw a very nice deep ball, good footwork, smooth and polished release, accurate with the ball. I think those of us who watched him play last year, we're not surprised by any of that. But then you throw in the Combine drills. At 222 pounds, here's a man who ran an official 4.59 in the 40, second fastest among all the quarterbacks. He had a vertical jump of 35 inches, which ranked fourth, and a broad jump of 125, which was tied for first. So, incredibly athletic, very explosive. Yes, again, it's not like we didn't see that coming, although I think we'd agree the last 3 or 4 games of last season, Jalen looked a little slower, a little less explosive because, you know, I think he was physically pretty beat up. I mean, he ran the football last year 233 times. So durable, but did get beat up. I think anyone who watched Jalen play last year would probably agree the one place he does struggle is reading defenses and delivering the football on time. He frequently, I think, didn't see guys that were wide open, or sometimes when he did see them, he would just miss them. Overthrow, underthrow, late getting the ball to them. That's the part of the game that he's going to need to work on the most. And I think you're going to continue to see him evolve in that area in his career. Remember now, 5 offensive coordinators in 4 years. Think about how much better he was as a passer last year under Lincoln Riley than he was at any point in his time at Alabama. That's the kind of progress I think you're going to continue to see as Jalen's career in the NFL evolves. Now, the NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah said a lot of people have been projecting Jalen as a 3rd or 4th round pick, which I completely agree with, but he said he didn't think Hurts was going to make it out of the 2nd round. Think about that. I think I heard Jason LaCanfora say pretty much the same thing. Jeremiah said he's got some things to clean up on. Yeah, obviously. But Hurts can really spin the football, and there's a lot to work with there. I agree. Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated said Hurts did plenty this week at the Combine to dispel the idea that he's not an NFL quarterback. Again, I agree. And you just know that Hurts killed it in those meeting rooms with those scouts and the coaches. Listen. His delivery at the press conference every week last year, yeah, it was painful to watch. And let me tell you, it was even more painful to try to get answers out of him. Any answers. And I know from the feedback I get here and on social media and elsewhere that even OU fans got tired of his act. But that's the media side of Jalen Hurts. That's different from what the coaches see. This is a coach's kid who learned under Nick Saban, learned under Lincoln Riley. You put him in a room with a bunch of coaches, he's going to blow them away. I think we saw a little bit of that in the film room segment or the whiteboard segment with Steve Mariucci. And then lastly, the big man, Neville Gallimore, he didn't really have a very good combine, straight up. Neville did run the 40 in 4.79, which is 7th among the 38 defensive linemen who also ran at the combine. So that ain't bad. And I think we all agree that a good 40 time at the combine can make you some money. But he only repped 23 times on the bench press, which ranked 21st among those 38 defensive tackles. It's not good. Also, he only ran 7.97 in the 3-cone drill, which was near the bottom. And he ran a 5.01 in the 20-yard shuttle, which was second from last. And he didn't even do the vertical jump or the broad jump, which I do expect he'll do next week at his pro day. He's probably still working on technique and things like that. So, good 40 time, bad shuttle times, not much on the bench, and didn't jump. I think what we're seeing here is that Neville Gallimore is really probably going to go after all that stuff hard next Wednesday at Pro Day. Although, I'm not sure how much you can improve on the bench in a week. Unless, maybe he just had a bad day on the bench press. It has happened before. Neville is a super nice guy, very likable, but also he's real quiet, kind of shy. So I could see where he'd be one of those guys that gets a little nervous in the combine setting. Everybody watching you. He's nervous in the interviews, nervous in the team meetings, and so maybe you just don't perform in that setting. NFL teams know that, and they know there are plenty of guys out there who are like that. And that's why they're all going to want to come to Norman next week and see more of him at OU's Pro Day. I'll be there covering Pro Day as always, and I'll be back here with some video clips from Pro Day to talk about it. That's it for today. Remember, if you like this video, I encourage you to hit the like button, leave a comment down below, or share it in your social media channels. Tag me, and I will share your share in mine. Also, please go find me on Twitter at John E. Hoover and on Facebook at John E. Hoover Media. Thanks for watching. See you guys.